Hey, peace, 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 brothers and sisters. Man, listen, I don't know, man, but you know what? They messing with it. They messing with me. I'm still in the hotel, so let me see if I was hoping that I could have done that off the laptop because I wanted to read the information and go along and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? But hey, we still gonna do what we gotta do. All right, we're still gonna do what we gotta do. So either way, I'm doing it on the phone right now. All right, I'm doing it on the phone right now. There's always, where there's a will, there's a way. Okay, where there's a will, there's a way, and they're not gonna stop this. So let me just make sure. Can you guys hear me now? You guys can hear me? Somebody's saying no sound. I thought I had sound. Can you guys hear me? All right, cool. Okay, beautiful. Yes, great. Perfect. All right, sounds good. So I'm doing this on the phone right now. So if the camera shake a little bit, please, bear with me. The only thing is you guys would have to go and look at the information after because I can't share the screen on my phone. So I'm going to have to look at it from the desktop, from the laptop, and then you guys could go research it after. So I hope you guys are cool with that. All right. Let me just show y'all the headpiece. That's one of my headpieces I made. All right, so y'all can see that right there. Butter, 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 butter. You know what I mean? That's one of the pieces right there. Like I said, Chief Kalanago always repping to the fullest. You dig? But it's okay, family. It's okay because, well, brothers and sisters, it's all right. Because what I realize is that, like I told y'all before, a lot of the videos I see, it be having like 800 views. But when I go in the back, the videos be having like 30, 40,000 views. So I see what YouTube is doing. When these people doing videos calling you Black and African American, they don't be shutting them down like that, right? But here Chief Kalanago dropping the truth and the real knowledge, they trying to shut it down. But it's all good. They can't stop it. They can't stop it. They can't stop it. So check this out, right? So don't mind the Christmas trees. That ain't me. All right. I'm not home. I'm in the hotel. All right. So as you can see, we got the coins here for the copper, representing the copper colored races. You feel me? That's what we do. That's what we do. Right here, we got the baby alligator foot. Thanks to Chief Hathan Ashoba for this gift right here. And we got the raccoon's tail. That's what it is. We represent. We represent. All right. So brothers and sisters, just so y'all know, we always have to represent who we are. Okay, we have to represent. Okay, so I don't know how much you guys got from the Indian Citizen Act that I was reading, but I'm gonna read this over, and I would like you guys to go do the research because, like I was talking about, you see, the game that's being played on us is this: they don't want us to know that we are the American Indians that's in the hood, the ones they call the thugs, the one they call the gangs. They got us turning on each other in the hood. These people, they don't know that they are the American Indians. You feel me? So we have to, this video right here, I want y'all to share it. Take it to the brothers and sisters in the hood. Okay, shut them TVs off. Let them look at that video. They need to know who we are. All right? They have to know. Peace and love. High vibe, Jazz. So I was reading the Indian Citizen Act. And I was breaking that down for you guys. So please do me a favor. Don't just look at the video, but please go research it. So I'm going to take this from the top again. I'm not going to go with the full drawn first part of the lecture, but I'm going to go right into the Indian Citizen Act, okay, of 1924. The Indian Citizen Act of 1924, also known as the Snyder Act, was proposed by Representative Homer P. Snyder. Now, I showed you a picture of him. That's a Caucasian, all right, of New York, and granted full U.S. citizenship to the indigenous peoples of the United States. Now, and I'm certainly sure it wasn't our people, but the so-called indigenous people granted him citizenship, all right, an immigrant, they granted him citizenship, and it was called the Indians in this act. While the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution defined as citizens any person born in the U.S. The amendment had been interpreted to restrict the citizenship rights of most native people. Now, like I was breaking down to y'all, is this. The so-called natives today, that wasn't referring to them, even if it was just all natives on a whole, but they had always acknowledged them to a certain extent. They just didn't acknowledge the so-called, the Negroid Indians, okay? The Aborigines, they didn't want to accept us as citizens. However, the act was signed by law by President Calvin Coolidge on June 3rd, 1924. It was enacted partially in recognition of thousands of Indians who served in the armed forces during World War I. Now, like I was telling you guys before, I want you to go anywhere and show me any of those Native Americans that served in World War I.
No audio.
No audio still? They told me they could hear me though. You sure? I'm doing it on my phone right now. You can't hear anything? Can you guys hear me? Let me just make sure. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, they could hear me. Yeah, they could hear me. Yeah. All right, cool. I appreciate that. So going back to what I was saying, right? They are talking about the thousands and thousands of our ancestors who fought in World War I. As we know, and I haven't seen any records of a surmountable amount of natives serving in World War I. Now, I don't want to say they never did, but in the capacity of what they are speaking of, I have never heard, seen it, or read it. So if any native have that information that they could provide to me and prove that their people fought in World War I in such a huge capacity, show it to me. But I do know that so-called black people and African Americans fought in World War I, and that's why they won that war. Okay, so that act was passed to make them citizens of the United States. Now it reads, the text of the 1924 Indian Citizen Act 43 U.S. Stats at large, it says, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled that all non-citizen Indians, it doesn't say all non-Negroes, it doesn't say all non-black people, it doesn't say all non-African Americans. It says that all non-citizen Indians born within the territorial limits of the United States be, and they are hereby declared to be citizens of the United States. Now, another reason why I know they are not talking about natives is because natives had always gotten respect. Okay, natives was always acknowledged by the United States government. So therefore, it is telling you and proving again that it is the Negroid. Okay, the Negro Indians, the American Aborigines, that's who they are talking about. So the act was passed, again an act. Actors passed an act because senators, they are actors. Governors, they are actors. The president is an actor. They are acting in the capacity of a president of the corporation. So the act was passed to make the Indians citizens of the United States. However, it says provided that. Now that's a very key word. Provided that. Provided is a provision. Okay? It's a provision in case otherwise that the granting of such citizenship shall not, very key word, shall not in any manner impair or otherwise affect the right of any Indian to tribal or other property. Somebody told me that the sound is gone. Man, this is bugged out. So you guys still can't hear me, huh? Yeah. Oh, okay, you guys can hear me. Okay, cool, because somebody just told me they can't. All right, cool. I appreciate that. All right, beautiful. But the only way for you to really get a true understanding of what I'm reading, you have to go look it up, okay? The Indian Citizen Act of 1924, and I want you to follow along while I'm breaking it down so that you guys could really truly get it. So it is saying that they made all of us citizens, but it says provided that granting of citizenship shall not in any manner, keyword, not in any manner impair, affect, okay, or otherwise affect the right of any Indian. In other words, affect the right of any so-called black, African American, Negro to tribal or other property. So the question remains, are you a citizen of the United States? Because they are telling you they made you a citizen provided that. So seeing that making you a citizen affected you being an Indian, in other words, your tribal and other property, by default, we are not citizens. We are not citizens because one, they changed our identity. So that means it affected us. Two, we don't have our tribal ways and customs. So that means it affected us. Three, we don't have our land. So that means it affected us. It did impair us being Indians. So by default, you got black people and African Americans going around thinking they're citizens when it states that Congress says that you are not citizens. But you think you are. That's why you are stateless. That's why you are nationless. That's why it means you are dead within law. My brothers and sisters, y'all better wake up and realize what's going on with y'all. Okay? It is time. And you see, the reason why they're preventing this information from going out is because they know Chief Kalinago is bringing the truth and facts. So they're sabotaging it. All right? But when you have these other fools on here calling you black and African American, they got 20-something, 50-something thousand views in 2 days. You dig? But here I am dropping the information in the back office. I am seeing, or in the back of YouTube, they're showing my videos getting 30,000 views, but I'm seeing it's only showing 800 views. But it's side though. It's side. That's why I keep telling y'all, please support those that are doing justice. Support those that are bringing the truth. You know, I would like to create my own platform where I could create my own internet radio show on our nation's website. But I need you guys to support it. Because the only way we're going to do this is if we have our own. It is the only way we have our own. So please, man, you guys got to support for real. Because these people are sabotaging what we are doing. So this is pretty much the act. Again, it's an act. So they made us citizens, but they took it right back by impairing what it means to be an Indian. Took away our tribal lands and our property and our culture, and they changed our identity. So by default, you are not citizens. And they wasn't talking about the natives, because the natives are recognized by the federal government. They are talking about the Indians in the hood. Okay? Not menace to society. They are talking about Indians in society. Okay? They are talking about the Indians in the hood, the projects, the thugs. That's who they are talking about. All right? They have to know that we are the real Indians. One thing you have to know about us is this. When you have Indian blood running through you, meaning that the American Aborigine blood in you, we don't conform to their rules and their statutes and codes. If you look in the hood, all our young brothers and sisters, what? They are defiant. You know why? Because that's not in our nature. Okay? To be subjected by any foreigner's rules. You see, they don't know. That's the reason why they're being so rebellious. But we have to let them know who they are so they could direct that energy in the right direction. They are misguided. And that's why it's important for you to get those videos, especially this one, in the hood. Get it in the hood to the thugs, the Bloods, the Crips. Okay? In the projects. Get it to them. Let them have a true understanding why they are the way they are. It's because they're American Indians. That's in their blood. And we cannot go around calling ourselves black and African American. We have to stand up, American Aborigines. So now that we spoke of the Indian Citizen Act, proving that you are not citizens, and also if you say that you are an African American, go look at the Dred Scott case. It tells you that an African was never meant. Okay, do me a favor. Somebody need to delete this fool over here. Okay, thank you, Chief Holiday. So with that being said, okay, even African Americans from the Dred Scott case were never meant to be citizens of the United States. So either way you look at it, if you call yourself an American Indian, you could never be a citizen because they just told you that from the Indian Citizen Act of 1924. If you call yourself African American, then you cannot be a citizen due to the Dred Scott case. If you call yourself black, you fall under Saliviter Matus, which means that you are dead within law. So let me ask you, you so-called black people and African American, let me ask you, Pharaoh, who are you? What are you? If you're over here calling our people black and African American, but yet still you people are the ones that their videos is showing that's getting 40,000, 50,000, 60 views, right? But they hear Sabotage in mine. But it's all good though. My ancestors gonna make sure something happened though. It's all right. So this is what we're gonna do. We spoke of the Indian Citizen Act of 1924. So I want you guys, okay? I want you guys to please do me a favor and study the information. While you're listening to the video, go to the Indian Citizen Act and watch the breakdown and pay particular attention to words like not, impair, affect, tribal, property, otherwise. Okay, pay attention to those words. Those are the key words. It took away you being a citizen of the United States. So therefore, you are nationless. So let me ask you again, what's your nation? Okay, because you have a US passport, it doesn't mean that that's your nation. It doesn't mean that. The United States is not a nation. A passport is just a form of identification. Okay, because you have a driver's license, all it means is that you have a license to travel your own land, which you don't need. So what's your nationality? Y'all better wake up. So right now we are going to look at the Indian Reorganization Act. You see, everything is an act. Everything is an act. And when you have acts, what do you get? You get actors to play the act. So now we have actors ruling our lives. Why do you think our people gravitate so much to Hollywood? They worship actors. They worship celebrities because they like acts. They like the acts that these actors are giving them. I hope y'all get the difference. That's why they love Hollywood so much. That's why they love these actors. They worship them. I don't give a damn about these people because they don't give a damn about me. That is a fact. I don't idolize them. They don't have anything for me. They're not my idols. I worship no man. This is the plan right here. The plan is teaching the people so that we could come together as the American Aborigines. Because you see, if they don't know the knowledge, they cannot apply the knowledge. You cannot apply anything that you don't know. So that is what we are doing. We are teaching the truth as to who we are. So now that we know who we are, and we know that we are brothers and sisters from the same mother, which is the American continent, now we could come together as the American Aborigines and step up to these people, these immigrants in our land, calling us thugs, shoving us in projects. Okay, when we in our communities, they run our communities down, and then they call our buildings abandoned, and then they come with their gentrification and put their people in our hoods. How do you go in a project and on one block you have thugs, okay, killing each other, and then on the other side of the street you have condominiums, people living in high rises? Where do they do that at? I don't think y'all heard me. Where do you go in the hood? Okay, on one side of the street people are killing each other because they're in the projects, and then right across the street you have sky rises. You have condominiums. It's by design. Yes, it is by design. So we have to realize what's going on. We have to realize what's going on. Okay? Now, let us look at the Indian Reorganization Act. I want you guys to again look at this. Indian Reorganization Act, it is always about moving our people. And that the Indian Reorganization Act was in June 18th of 1934. Now we're going to read. The Indian Reorganization Act of June 18th, 1934, or the Wheeler-Howard Act, was a U.S. federal legislation that dealt with the status of the Native Americans, known in law as American Indians or Indians. Now, I wish I could have been sharing my screen right now, but people, my brothers and sisters, I want you to go look this up. Now, they have Native Americans, and in brackets, they have known in law as American Indian or Indians. That's why I keep telling y'all, there's a difference between legal and lawful. Within law, American Indians stand. Okay, within law. Know the difference. Okay, I'm going to read that again, and I wish you guys could be following along, meaning that you could see exactly what I'm reading. It says the Indian Reorganization Act of June 18, 1934, or the Wheeler-Howard Act, was a U.S. federal legislation that dealt with the status of Native Americans, known in law as American Indians or Indians. So in other words, out of law, they are known as Black, African Americans, etc. Man, I hope y'all get this, because Chief Kalinago is giving y'all the drop. You see how they had to specify that in brackets? Known in law. So my question to you is, what are you known as out of law? You know what you're known as out of law? You're known as Black, African American, meaning that you are dead in law. So if you're not an American Indian or an Indian, this doesn't apply to you. Y'all gonna learn today. Y'all gonna learn today. Okay? And they put that in brackets because they want you to know. They said Native Americans could mean anybody, but they said known in law, because you see, in law, the Native Americans that's on those reservations, they are not American Indians. Ooh, y'all didn't know that, huh? But Chief Kalinago is going to drop it for y'all. That's why when they come on my news feed, they always say, oh, well, you're not native. You're not native. You're right. I'm not native. I don't want to be native. I'm an American Aborigine, aka American Indian, and within law, that stands. Within law. So lawfully, there is laws to protect the American Indians. Okay? Natives are U.S. citizens. So I want y'all to go read this for your own eyes, with your own eyes, so you could see and get the true understanding. Because like I said, I want anybody to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. That's what I want y'all to do. You see, I don't just talk, man. I back this up. It says, the major goal was to reverse the traditional goal of assimilation of Indians into American society. Into American society. It says that the major goal was to reverse the traditional goal of assimilation. In other words, it was tradition to force our people to assimilate into American societies. Hence, you have the project and you have the hoods. Oh, so now y'all see how those Indians ended up in the hood. It was through forced assimilation into American society, and to strengthen, encourage, and perpetuate the tribes and their historic traditions and culture. So now in the hood, in the projects, you have American Indians going around thinking they are Black and African American. That's not protected by law, because now they're dealing with the legal system. Man. Y'all gonna learn today. Y'all gonna learn today. It says, the act also restored to Indians the management of their assets, land and mineral rights, and included provisions intending to create a sound economic foundation for the inhabitants of Indian reservations. Now, they had us on reservations, but they took us out and put us in the hood. We are still on those reservations. So the hood is the reservation for the American Aborigine that's calling himself Black or African American. He think he live in the projects. No, you live in a hood, That's the Indian hood. That's the Indian reservation for so-called Black American Indians. Okay? The hood is your reservation. But the only difference is you paying rent. You don't own casinos. Okay? You're not going to school for free, and you're not getting free healthcare. While the people that's taking your place, they own casinos. Okay? They are getting free healthcare. They are getting free education. And they are not paying rent. As a matter of fact, they are getting checks every single month. And I'm talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. But you're here calling yourself Black and African American. That's why you can't get a damn thing. But you are the Indians in the hood. Y'all want to go listen to these rappers and celebrities and all these so-called conscious people on YouTube calling y'all Black and African American, and y'all supporting them. Y'all need to support Chief and Black Man and Dark Man that's bringing the truth all day to y'all. Okay? We should have had our own platform by now. Y'all should help us get that together so we could have our own radio show so these people can't mess up what we are doing. That's what y'all need to be supporting. Okay? Now, I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. I'm not going to play no games. I'm bringing y'all the truth, but I'm going to keep it 100. Okay? It says, the law did not apply to Hawaii, Alaska, and Oklahoma, were added under another law in 1936. Native American tribes in Oklahoma had their land allotted and land title extinguished, so did not have any reservations left. Okay? Native American tribes in Oklahoma had their lands allotted and land title extinguished. Now, do you know what it means to extinguish? If there is a fire, and you get a fire extinguisher, what did you do? You put out the fire. So therefore, if you had your land, okay, and your land was allotted and your land title was extinguished, what does that mean? That means they put out the title of your land. In other words, they took your land and took your allodial title to your land. Man, this thing is right here in plain English. You know what they say? If you want to hide anything from a you-know-who, put it in a book. Our people need to read, turn these televisions off and study and realize what's going on. Y'all want to watch TV, watch entertainment all day while y'all livelihood is being taken away from y'all. That's what's happening right now. This is why I do what I do. Okay? It says the census counted 332,000 Indians in 1930 and 334,000 in 1940, including those and of the reservations in 48 states. We know that's a damn lie. We know that's a lie. Because the census, you could never believe that. It says total spending on Indians averaged 38 million a year in the late 1920s, dropping to all-time low of 23 million in 1933 and reaching 38 million in 1940. Let me ask you, how many of these so-called Black people, African American, got that? Because you didn't know you was the Indians, so it went to the natives who are posing as you. It says the IRA was the most significant initiative of John Collier, who was President Franklin D. Roosevelt, Commissioner of the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the BIA. The BIA is the people that's here shunning us. Okay, the BIA are the people that's going telling everybody that we are not Indians. So when we step up to them and say, well, we are the Indians, what they want us to do, they tell us, well, you got to prove you're an Indian. Now, guess what? I could prove that I'm an American Indian through my blood, but they don't want to do that. They don't want to accept blood. What they say is they want paper trail. Because you see, if they want you to prove who you are by paper trail. But what did they do? They put Walter Ashby Plecker in place to commit paper genocide. So now you cannot trace your lineage through paper. So now you're not being acknowledged as an American Indian because you don't have the paper to prove it. But guess what? Guess what, BIA, Bureau of American Indian Affairs, we don't need no paper because our ancestors didn't have no paper. We got our blood and we know we got Indian deep running in our blood and y'all can't stop us. Y'all can't stop us. And that's facts. Okay? So they're telling you the only way to prove that you're an Indian is to let me see the paper trail. Well, go talk to Walter Ashby Plecker when they change all our identity on paper and call us Black, African American, and colored. Go talk to him. But I could prove with my blood that I am an American Aborigine. So I have a question for them. If you could go to jail by doing DNA test, okay? If you get a woman pregnant as a man, or you want to prove that a child is yours, and they could use DNA to prove it, how come you cannot prove a reliable DNA source to prove that you are an American Aborigine? But they're telling you, no, we don't need that. We need paper trail. Nah, it's all right. We're not going to fall for that trick. We're not going to fall for that trick. And I'm not saying that for our people to go do all these fake DNA tests. Let's not do that. Okay? But we have to know that the BIA is not our people. They are all foreigners. Okay? So, man, I wish I had my charger because my battery's about to go. Man, Brother Kafira, if you listening to this, do me a favor. Could you bring me a charger, please? Or Empress, anybody who is listening to this, bring me my charger before this thing go off. All right? So pretty much, you know what, fam? All right, brothers and sisters, I'm going to take a walk with y'all. So walk with me. I'm going to go get my charger. All right, because this battery is about to, you know, knock me out right now. As you could see, I'm in the hotel right now. So the apartment that we are getting, it should be ready. Well, it's ready. We're just waiting for the light and the gas to be turned on. You feel me? So right now we have to be in a hotel so we can stay out the cold. All right, we're still here in Pennsylvania, and we like it, you know, we just, you know, making moves, man, for the people, on behalf of the people. All right. So let me go ahead and get my charger. Give me a second, guys. You guys could still hear me, right? I think I may have. Let me see if I got that key. Yeah, let me just get my charger real quick. Alrighty, where my at? All right, cool. Good. Alrighty, thanks. All right, just my battery's about to go out, so just wanted to go get my charger from the room, and I'm walking back to the spot I was in. But brothers and sisters, man, you know, it's time, man. It's time, and you know, we cannot be playing these games because these people aren't playing. Like right now in Jamaica, they're going around asking people for IDs. You know, in Jamaica, you know what I'm saying? Like these people are playing games with us, and we cannot afford to have these people playing games with us, you know? And they're about to start doing that out here. So on January 22nd, which is maybe I don't even know what today's date is, but I think January 22nd is like right around the corner. They have this Real ID Act, and a lot of people are going to get caught up deeper into the system. So y'all got to be very mindful of what's going on. Okay? Got to be very mindful. Let me see if I could use this right here and see if this is going to work. So we could just finish this up. All right, give me a second. All this shaking. All right, cool. All right, so this is cool. I just got to see if I could put this laptop, man. Yeah, I tell you, man, the things I got to go through, you know, to bring this information to y'all, man. Like I said, like this is amazing. But I'm making this happen, though. All right, I'm making it happen. I'm making it happen. So we spoke of, so we're going to continue with that, okay? It says, he had long studied Indian issues and worked for change since the 1920s, particularly with the American Indian Defense Association. He intended to reverse the assimilationist policies that had resulted in considerable damage to the Native American culture and to provide a means of American Indians to reestablish sovereignty and self-government, to reduce the losses of reservations lands, and to build economic self-sufficiency. He believed that the Indian traditional culture was superior to that of modern America and thought it worthy of emulation. His proposals were considered highly controversial as numerous powerful interests had profited from the sale and management of native lands. You see, so everything is about business. It's about taking our lands and turning it into commercial properties. They're telling you exactly what they were doing. It says Congress revised Collier's proposals and preserves oversight of tribes and reservations by the Bureau of Indian Affairs with the Department of Interior. The self-government provisions would automatically go into effect for a tribe unless a clear majority or eligible Indians voted it down. When approved, the tribe would adopt a variation of a model constitution drafted by the BIA lawyers. So that's why I tell people, those natives, they are still U.S. citizens. Who do you think wrote up the Constitution? The BIA. All right? They are still U.S. citizens. They are still property. So when they start telling me, oh, well, I say, okay, you could be a native, but I'm not that. I'm an American Aborigine, and I'm the original owner of this land. All right? So it says background. At the time the act passed, it was United States policy to eliminate Indian reservations. Man, listen, like I told y'all before, everything they do is right there in public. Okay? That genocide is right there. It says background. At the time the act was passed, it was the United States policy to eliminate Indian reservations. Now let me ask you a question. If they want to eliminate the Indian reservations, wouldn't they have to eliminate the Indians first? You see, I'm asking y'all common sense questions. Okay? Common sense questions. It is telling you right there in black and white. It was the United States policy to eliminate Indian reservations. That was their policy, to get rid of the Indians. Okay? To beat the Indian out of you. In other words, make you black and African American. Did they succeed? Yes, because the majority of these Aborigines are over here calling themselves that. So they don't know who they are. Okay, they don't know who they are. All right. It says, dividing the communal territory and allotting 160-acre plots to individual heads of households to be owned in severalty. It says before allotment, reservation territory was not owned in the usual European American sense, but was reserved for the benefit of the entire Indian tribe. In other words, our lands was put aside just for us until they decided to take us and put us in those projects. Okay, force us out of the land. And furthermore, they forced us, we had to go into inner cities. All right. It says the communal benefits were a proportion to members according to the tribal law and custom. Generally, Indians held the land in a communal fashion. Non-Indians were not allowed to own land on reservations, a fact which limited the value of the land to the Indians. It reduced to the market for it. In other words, non-Indians, immigrants, weren't allowed to own our lands. They were not allowed to own our lands. Yes, they are holding our land in trust. That's why we need to step up as the Aborigines. We have to step up and get it back. Okay? It says, the process of allotment started with the General Allotment Act of 1887. It is always an act. They are actors playing a role dealing with acts. That's why I don't fancy Hollywood. Okay? It says, 2/3 of the Indian land had converted to traditional private ownership. 2/3. 2/3 of our land, okay, was converted to traditional ownership. All right, 2/3 of our land, private ownership, i.e., it was owned in fee simple. Most of that had been sold by Indian allottees. Indian allottees. In other words, the people that had the land in trust, they sold our land, often because they had no means to pay local taxes on the lands for which they were newly responsible. So let me ask you a question. If you come to my home and I open my home to you, why the hell do I have to be paying you taxes in my home? You see, our people don't get this. Y'all better wake up. So that was the trick. Okay? They took our land. They gave some of it back because they were supposed to, because they had it in a trust, and they charged us so much tax that we couldn't pay it, so they took it back. Man, y'all better wake up and realize the damage and the trick that was played on our people. Okay? Wake up, fam. Wake up. It says, let me see where I'm at. Give me a second here. The IRA provided a mechanism for the recovery of the land that had been sold, including land that had been sold to tribal Indians. They would lose individual property under the law. John Collier was appointed commissioner of the Indian Bureau It is now called Bureau of Indian Affairs, BIA, in April 1933 by President Roosevelt Delano Roosevelt. He had the full support of his boss, Secretary of the Interior Harold L. Licks, who was also an expert on Indian issues. Oh, really? Now they had expert on Indian issues. You know why? The same way they have experts on Black and African American issues. Aren't they the one running every aspect of our lives? So there is nothing new under the sun. They had expert in Indian issues the same way they have expert on hood people issues. When you have your situation with your baby daddy and your baby mama, who is the one dealing with it? Isn't it the family court? Do you own the family court? Are they related to you? So how come it's called family court? Whose family is it? You're going to a court that's called family court, but these people are not related to you. When you actually know that family means slave or servant court. But yet still you are going because it's family court. Because you want to take him to court for child support. Because you want to take her to court for child support. Okay, they are always up in your business, controlling your lives. And that has always happened. This is nothing new. Experts. They are experts on Indian affairs, Indian issues. Okay. It says the federal government held land in trust for many tribes, and they still own our land in trust. Okay. They got it in trust, and we got to get it back. The American Aborigines are stepping up, and we want what's ours. It's ours. We want it back. Render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. It is in that book. Okay. It says numerous cases had been presented to Congress because of failures in the government management of such lands. There were particular grievances and claims due to the government failure to provide or sustainable forestry. The Indian Claims Act included a requirement that the Interior Department manage Indian forest resources on the principle of sustained yield management. Representatives Edgar Howard of Nebraska, co-sponsor of the act and chairman of the House Committee on Indian Affairs, explained that the purpose of the provision was to assure a proper and permanent management of the Indian forest under modern sustained yield methods so as to assure that the Indian forest will be permanently productive and will yield continuous revenues to the tribes. Okay, we don't need y'all to manage anything for us. Before y'all came, we had that. Okay, it says implementation and results. The act slowed the practice of allotting communal tribal lands to individual tribal members. It did not restore to Indians land that had already been patented to individuals, but much land at the time was still unallotted or was allotted to an individual but still held in trust for that individual by the US government. Why do you want to hold our land in trust? Okay, people, my brothers and sisters, we got to wake up, okay? Because the act did not disturb existing private ownership of the Indian reservation lands, it left reservations as a checkerboard of tribal or individual trust and fee land, which remains the case today. However, the act also allowed the U.S. to purchase some of the fee land and restore it to tribal trust status. Due to the act and other actions of federal courts and governments, more than 2 million acres, okay, of land were returned to various tribes in the first 20 years of after passage. Let me ask you a question. How much of that 2 million acres of land did the so-called black man and African and American women get? None. You know why? Because y'all don't know y'all are the Indians. You see how they got you to walk away from your land and keep it away from you by you being black and African American? I hope y'all hearing me. I hope y'all are getting this. Okay? So our land was taken away from us. It says, in 1954, the United States Department of Interior, DOI, began implementing the termination and relocation phases of the act, which had been added by Congress. These provisions were the result of the continuing interest by some members of Congress in having American Indians assimilate to the majority of society. Isn't that what they are still doing today? Forcing us to assimilate to their culture, to their ideologies? How many of these Negro peons you see running around? How many of these black peons you see running around? Because they don't want to be Indians. You heard Malcolm X. You are the American Aborigines, but you don't like being called American Aborigines. You heard Martin Luther King. Okay, after 100 years, the Negro is still exiled in his own land. Y'all gonna learn today, though. Y'all gonna learn. And you're not just gonna learn, you're gonna learn this, and we're gonna step up and implement this and take action, because we ain't playing this. All right, we're not playing this. No, this is a whole different time. We ain't doing that. It says, among other effects, termination resulted in the legal dismantling of 61 tribal nations within the United States and ending their recognized relationships with the federal government. So because of that 61 tribal nations, they got banned, okay, shunned, all right, from the federal government recognition. Those are some of us that's in the hood because we didn't want to sleep in bed with the federal government. So they took that away from our people and named them Black African American and pushed them in the hood, in the ghettos, in the cities, while they are enjoying our land. This also ended the eligibility of the tribal nations and their members for various government programs to assist American Indians. You see, so now they're holding that against us so that we don't get those programs and the assistance that we are supposed to get that they owe us. But guess what? We ain't falling for that. We're stepping up and letting them know we want what's due to us. We want it now. Okay? It says, of the dismantled tribes, 46 regained their legal status as indigenous communities. In other words, they went back in bed with the federal government to be acknowledged as indigenous communities. That's why I said I am not just indigenous. I am an American Aborigine, aka American Indian, who is indigenous to the Americas. Okay? Constitutional challenges. Since the late 20th century and the rise of the Indian activism over sovereignty issues, as well as many tribes' establishment of casino gambling on reservations as a revenue source, the U.S. Supreme Court has repeatedly asked to address the IRA's constitutionality. The provision of the act that is controversial is the one that allows the U.S. government to acquire non-Indian land by voluntary transfer and convert it to Indian land, take it into trust. In so doing, the U.S. government partially removes the land from the jurisdiction of the state, which makes certain activities such as casino gambling possible on the land for the first time. It also makes the land exempt from state property taxes and some other state taxes. Consequently, many people oppose implementation of this part of the act and typically represented by state or local or governments, they sue to prevent it. In other words, okay, we have to step up, okay, as the American Aborigines, come together, step to these people, get our land back, okay, get our land because we know it's ours. So I told y'all, man, this is not a game. All right. We are bringing the truth and the facts to you. Stop being nationless. Stop being stateless. Okay. Stop it. It says in 1995, South Dakota challenged the authority of the Interior Secretary under the IRA to take 91 acres of land into trust on the behalf of the Lower Brule Sioux tribe based on the Lower Brule Indian Reservation in South Dakota versus United States Department of Interior. It says the 8th Circuit Court of the Appeals found Section 5 of the IRA to be unconstitutional, ruling that it violated the non-delegation doctrine and that the Secretary of Interior did not have the authority to take the land into trust. The U.S. Department of Interior sought U.S. Supreme Court review, but as the DOI was implementing new regulations related to land trusts, the agency asked the court to remain the case to the lower court to be reconsidered with the decision to be based on the new regulations. The U.S. Supreme Court granted Interior's petition, vacated the lower court's ruling, and remanded the case back to the lower court. Justice Scalia O'Connor and Thomas dissented, stated that the decision today to grant, vacate, and remand in the light of the government's changed position is both unprecedented and inexplicable. They went on, what makes today's action inexplicable as well as unprecedented is the fact that the government's change of legal position does not even purport to the applicable to the present case. 7 months after the Supreme Court's decision to grant, vacate, and remand, the DOI removed the land in question from trust. Okay, so once again, you could go into Wikipedia and look this up and look again, study the Indian Citizen Act of 1924. Now we are looking at the Indian Reorganization Act, and that's of June 18th, 1934. So I just wanted to break some of that down for you, so that you could really get a true understanding of what's happening to our people. Now, at this present time, we looked at the Indian Citizen Act. We looked at the Indian Reorganization Act. You see, everything is an act, an act, an act. Okay? Now we're going to go into the Indian Relocation Act. Okay? That's why our people love Hollywood. They like actors. That's why actors are the ones playing with their lives and their livelihoods. Okay? All these people are actors. So now we're going to look at the act, the Indian Relocation Act of 1956. Are you guys with me? I just want to make sure that you guys are still with me. Are y'all with me? Just need to know. Are you guys with me? Should we proceed? Are we good to go? All right, beautiful. We good to go. We good to go. All right, cool. Let's get this in. Let's get this in. All right, good. Let us look at the Indian Relocation Act of 1956. It says, and it also says not to be confused with the Indian Removal Act. So we had the Indian Citizen Act, all right, of 1924. We had the Indian Reorganization Act, and we have the Indian Relocation Act, not to be confused with the Indian Removal Act. But we'll look into that. We'll look into that too. The Indian Relocation Act of 1956, also known as the Public Law 959 or the Adult Vocational Training Program, was a United States law. Again, it's not law, it's legalese. That's not law. All that stuff is unlawful. Intended to encourage Native Americans in the United States to leave Indian reservations, acquire vocational skills, and assimilate into the general population. Now, that's key. When they say Native Americans in the United States to leave Indian reservations, acquire vocational skills, and assimilate into the general population. So that means that act was already put in place to get rid of the Indians on those reservations. Now let me ask you, right? Aren't the natives still on those reservations? So apparently the Indian Relocation Act wasn't about them, because they are still on the reservations. Now, I'm going to read this again. Like I said, use your common sense. Think of what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Hear what I'm saying, and let it resonate with you. Okay? Everything it's in black and white. It says, the Indian Relocation Act of 1956, also known as the Public Law 959 or the Adult Vocational Training Program, was a United States law, but I would say legal because it's not law, intended to encourage Native Americans in the United States to leave Indian reservations. Okay? Why wasn't it called native reservations? You see, because they had natives living on Indian land, which they still do today. Y'all got to pay attention to the language. Okay? Reading is fundamental. Fun for the mental. I'm having fun right now. Reading is fundamental. I'm having fun because my mental is enjoying this. Okay? Encourage Native Americans in the United States to leave Indian reservation. Why wouldn't they ask to leave native reservations? You know why? It's because they are not the Indians. They are natives that was on native reservations. But however, it says to acquire vocational skills and assimilate in the general population. Let me ask you a question. Who are the ones that was forced to assimilate in the general population? Who are the ones in the hood? Who are the ones in the project? Yes, those are the so-called Indians. That's right. They are the ones in the projects. They are the ones in the hood. They are the ones that they call the thugs. Okay? They are the ones they call menace to society, the Bloods, the Crips, all these different gangs. Y'all better wake up. Okay? It says, part of the Indian termination policy. Ooh, they had an Indian termination policy. Isn't that what they're doing to our people today? Aren't they terminating the so-called black people and African American? They have jails with over 2 million of our people sitting in there. All that is part of the Indian termination policy. Again, reading is fundamental, but reading with comprehension is better. It says, part of the Indian termination policy of the era, which terminated the tribal status of numerous groups, it played a significant role in increasing the population of urban Indians in succeeding decades. Urban Indians. Ho ho. At the time when the U.S. government was decreasing subsidies to the Indians living on reservations, the Relocation Act offered a pay moving expenses and provide some vocational training to those who were willing to move from the reservations to certain government designated cities where employment opportunities were thought to be favorable. Types of assistance including relocation, transportation of household goods, subsistence per diem for both the time of relocation and up to 4 weeks after arrival, and funds to purchase tools or equipment for apprentice work. Additional benefits include medical insurance for workers and their dependents, grants to purchase work clothing, grants to purchase household goods, and furniture, tuition cost for vocational night school training, and in some cases, funds to help purchase a home. All right, I want you guys to go. I'm not going to read that any further, but go look at it. The Indian Relocation Act. Okay, what we're going to do now, we are going to look at the Indian Removal Act, which is different from the Indian Relocation Act. Everything was done with acts. Okay, an act of this and an act of that. Let us go and look at that. And I want you to do your own research on that as well. Okay, Indian Removal Act, not to be confused with the Indian Relocation Act. The Indian Removal Act was signed by President Andrew Jackson on May 28, 1830. The law authorized the president to negotiate with southern Indian tribes for their removal. How are you going to negotiate with people on their land to get rid of them? Like seriously, to federal territory west of Mississippi. So let me ask you a question. Who are the majority of the people in Mississippi in the southern states? Isn't it the so-called black people and African American? So how come y'all from Africa, when they're telling y'all you are the Indians, they moved? They moved. It says, where am I at? The act enjoyed strong support from the non-Indian peoples of the South. Of course, the act is going to get strong support from the non-Indian peoples of the act, because they didn't want you so-called black people around them. Okay? So of course they're going to give it strong support. But there was a large amount of resistance from the Indian tribes, of course. Why would we want you to take us out of our land? Of course we're going to resist it. Isn't that the same thing that's happening today? Aren't they coming to our hood with gentrification, forcing us out? We don't want to go. But what they do, they force us out. So, brothers and sisters, there is nothing new under the sun. Okay? The same thing that the Indians went through back in the days, the Indians are going through it today, but under the disguise of being black and African American. Y'all gonna learn today. It says, the act enjoyed support from the non-Indian peoples of the South, but there was a large amount of resistance from the Indian tribes. The Whig Party and the whites in the Northeast, especially New England, the Cherokee worked together as an independent nation to stop this relocation, but they were unsuccessful. So I am not going to read the entire act for you. Okay, I want you to go look that up, but I'm just going to read this little part real quick. It says, In the early 1800s, the United States government began a systematic effort to remove American Indian tribes from the Southeast. The Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Muskogee Creek, the Seminole, and the original Cherokee nations had been established as an autonomous nations in the southeastern United States. So go look at what have happened to our people. All right, go look at what happened to our people. So I'm proving to you that the so-called African American and the so-called black man, we are the American Aborigines. We are the American Indians. Okay, now let us look at the Indian termination policy. Once again, policy dealing with statutes and codes. Policy involved police. Okay, police policy. It says, the Indian termination was the policy of the United States from the mid-1940s to the mid-1960s. That's only a few years ago. Okay, in the 1940s and the 1960s, our ancestors called themselves Indians. How come all of a sudden, a few years later, y'all Negroes running around talking about y'all black and y'all African American and y'all from Africa? And y'all got these people on YouTube, okay, lying to y'all, and y'all continuously supporting them. It says it was shaped by a series of laws and policies with the intent of assimilating Native Americans to mainstream American society. Okay, that's what they did. You see that they forced us to assimilate into mainstream American societies. Let me ask you a question. How many so-called Native Americans right now you know today that are living in American societies and in the hood and in the ghetto and in the projects? None of them. So who are these people they are talking about? They are talking about you. Okay? They are talking about the so-called black man and the so-called African American in the hood. You are the American Indians. Y'all better wake up. It says, assimilation was not new. Of course we know it's not new. The belief that indigenous peoples should abandon their traditional lives and become civilized had been the basis of policy for centuries. But that was new was the sense of urgency. You see, they had a sense of urgency that with or without consent, tribes must be terminated and begin to live as Americans. Okay? We didn't have a choice. In other words, they force us. They are saying without our consent, they put us in the hood, took our lands so that we could be forced to live as civilized as they so deemed what civilized means. It says, to that end, Congress set about ending the special relationship between tribes and the federal government. In other words, the treaties that they signed, okay, they breached that trust. The intention was to grant Native Americans all the rights and privilege of citizenship, reduce their dependence on bureaucracy, whose mismanagement had been documented, and eliminate the expense of providing service for the Native people. In practical terms, the policy ended the U.S. government recognition of the sovereignty of the tribes, trusteeship over Indian reservations, and the exclusive of state law applicability to Native persons. From the government's perspective, Native Americans were to become taxpaying citizens subject to the state and federal taxes as well as laws from which they had previously been exempt. Okay, I want y'all to go read that for yourself. I'm reading the Indian Termination Act. Okay, so now they put you in the hood. Okay, the so-called black man and black woman, African American, they put you in the hood and got you paying taxes, which you are actually exempt from paying because Indians are not supposed to pay taxes in our own land. And that is still the law. Okay, we are not dealing with the legal system. We are dealing with law. Okay, I'm giving y'all the drop today. Okay, y'all in school right now. This is the real university right here. Okay, urban Indians. Now let us go look at urban Indians. Urban Indians are Native Americans in the United States who live in urban areas. Urban Indians represent a growing proportion of the native population in the United States. The National Urban Indian Family Coalition considers the term to apply to individuals of American Indians and Alaska Natives ancestry who may or may not have direct or active ties with the particular tribes, but who identify and are at least somewhat active in the Native community in their urban areas, as defined by the Native American Indian, as defined by the Urban Indian Family Coalition, Indians may variously be permanent residents, including long-term residents, forced residents, or medium and short-term visitors. Long-term residents are those who have been in a city for multiple generations. Okay, some are descendants of the people who traditionally owned land and that has been developed as an urban center. Forced residents are those who were forced to relocate to urban centers by government policies or by need to access specialized health or other services. Medium and short-term visitors are in a city to visit family or friends, to pursue an education, etc. The term forced resident is a contested term. So literally, again, you are the Indians, whether it may be forced, long-term or short-term, they are breaking it down the category of who you are. So for all you Negroes, for all you so-called black people and African Americans running around thinking you're from Africa and you're black, no, you are the American Indians. And that's how they have categorized you. Okay, that is the game that's being played. So all those terms that I broke down, I want y'all to go in detail and read it yourself and get a true understanding of what I have just read. Okay? So my brothers and sisters, it is time to step into action. Okay? I, among many others, have given you substantial amount of evidence and proof that we are the American Aborigines, aka the American Indians. Now it is time for unification. Okay? Now it is time for unification. The question is, what are we going to do? Okay? What are we going to do? That is the question. We have all the evidence. Okay? We don't need the BIA, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, we don't need to prove nothing to them. They already know the truth. Okay? They know who we are. So they're going to tell you, oh, well, you can't be recognized or you're not an Indian because you ain't got no paper to prove it. Well, guess what? We don't need any paper to prove it because our great-grandmama told us we are the Indians. So at the ending of the day, unification is the key. You have the website below. Let us do this. Let us step together as one people, one voice, one nation. We have a right to self-identify. Indigenous people have a right to belong to a nation. So let me ask you a question. If the US government is telling you that and showing you in black and white that you are not a US citizen, and if they're telling you that you cannot be African American because that doesn't exist, if they're telling you that being black is dead within law, then what are you? Who are you? Who are you? That is my question. Who are you? The website is in the link below. Okay? This is not a game for me, man. All right? I am putting my entire livelihood at stake to do what I'm doing. Because I was called to do it. I take this very, very, very seriously. I got my family telling me that I'm wasting my life, that I'm not accomplishing anything. Because they just cannot see what I'm doing. Because success to them means something different. So y'all got to recognize and know the sacrifices that's being made. The sacrifices that I make, the sacrifices that the people that are here with me coming to help are making. It is not just me. It's a lot of us that's coming together to do this for us. We the people. And only we could change. Only we could change our circumstances. Nobody could do it for us. You see, no one is forcing you to call yourself black. Earlier today, I went to the restaurant in the hotel and I seen a sister came with her 5 children. And they were talking about TV and football and basketball and Instagram. And it hurt my heart. Okay? At 7:30, 8 o'clock in the AM, a mother is at her table with her children speaking about sports and football and who's going to win the Super Bowl and basketball. And it's hurting me. And it's aching me to say something. And I just couldn't help myself. And I say, my sister, do you mind if I ask a question? I don't mean to be rude. But can I ask you, who are you? Who are your children? Do they know who they are? She said that we are black. I said, my sister, let me ask you a question. I pulled out my phone, a black phone. I said, what color is this phone? She said, black. I asked her, are you that color? She said, no. I said, that's right, you are not black. Just so you know, we are the American Indians. Her 13-year-old looked at her and said, Mama, I told you we are Indians. The 13-year-old. Huh? She said, Mama, I told you we're the Indians. You thought I was crazy. The mother said, I was like, she asked the mother, do you know that we're the Indians? She said, well, she does. So my question is, how come the 13-year-old knew that and the mother didn't know that? Our babies, they know the truth. They want to rise and wake up, but you have parents looking at them like they're crazy. You have family members looking at them like they're crazy. And she said, well, you know, the kids get kids. I say, my sister, do you know that the etymology of the word kids, that goats have kids? The 13-year-old said, Mama, don't I always tell you stop calling me kid? Goats have kids. The 13-year-old already knew that. So I gave them the website. I gave them the email. I said, my sister, check this out. I also explained to her, I tell her, do me a favor, my sister. Those children are not kids, they're your children. And when you go home, if you have their birth certificates, I want you to look at their birth certificates where you signed. It doesn't say parent. They have you as an informant. You sold your children to the government. And that resonated with the 13-year-old. But guess what? I planted a seed. I planted a seed, let her know that she was on the right track, because they probably thought she was crazy. And I could tell the fire in her when she stepped up and she said, Mama, I told you. Yes, that's an American Aborigine right there. That little sister. So guess what? That seed that was planted in her, she's going to be powerful. In fact, she is powerful, because out of that table, 6 of them was there. She was the one that was telling the family that we are Indians. Yes, the 13-year-old. So we have work to do. We have work to do. I love us, and that's why I do what I do. One thing y'all got to know about Chief Kalinago is this. It doesn't matter who give up. It doesn't matter who walk away. It doesn't matter who don't see the significance of all this. Chief Kalinago is always going to step into this, because guess what? That's my purpose. That's my goal. All right? I want to make sure that after I leave this physical body, that my energy is going to live on. I want to play my part. Many great ones came before me, and they gave me the opportunity to step on their shoulders. Martin Luther King said, I saw the promised land. You know why? Because our land is the promised land. But the ancestors told me, Chief, it's your job to bring the people to the promised land. And that's my job. That's my job. Okay? So with that being said, I thank you guys. No matter what they try to do to stop this from happening, they're not going to stop it. Our ancestors are alive and well. My brothers and sisters, study the information. Learn the information. Don't forget, we have the class on Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. My brother Darkman, he's going to put up the information, a flyer. We're going to post it. We're going to promote it. And we want you guys to, again, register for the class. It's going to be an extensive breakdown of UNDRIP, the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, and House Resolution 331. How does it pertain to us? How can we implement it? How can we apply it to our lives to make it work and make sure it's effective? I had a long day. I've been checking emails all day, on the phone all day, talking to brothers in Britain, in England, American Aborigines, talking to brothers in Chicago, talking to sisters in Texas, putting in that work. Brother Darkman will post that information, and I will also promote it as well, so you guys could register for the class. But my brothers and sisters, you see, I'm not going to sit on here and beg you for support. I'm not going to do that, because it's not in my nature. You know, I have learned that, you know, if people cannot see your value, you don't have to make them see your value. I'm going to say that again. If people cannot see your value, you don't have to force them to see your value. So if you can't see the value of Chief Kalinago and what he's doing for you and our people, then I'm not going to force you to see it. I'm not going to sit here and ask you and beg you to support the GoFundMe. I'm not going to do that. However, I will mention that it's in the link below. And if you feel that you are getting that information and it means something to you, then please support. Because you see, that's what keeps us going. Doing what we do for you. And I want to thank all the people that's around me, that's in the nation, that's helping out in every capacity. Okay? I want them to know that nobody's purpose or work or input is invalid or insufficient. Everyone's purpose or input is appreciated. Okay? At the end of the day, all we need is 100 people and each one doing a 1%. And if everybody do 1%, eventually if we get 100 people, we'll get 100%. Okay, so it's always appreciated. And the nation is growing, the membership is growing, and people are excited that they could be part of something. Not just be part of something, but part of something that's making moves, that's going somewhere. We are standing up as the American Aborigines. We are stating our claim that we are here. And there's no turning back. There's no going back. You see, when you know the truth, you cannot go back into the lies, or you shouldn't go back into the lies. Hold these dudes on YouTube accountable. When they call you black and African American and tell you from Africa, shut them down. Okay, stop supporting them. For once, that's right, something authentic. All right? And I am showing y'all the proof. I'm not just talking about it. I am showing y'all the proof. Okay? So this is who we are. Do me a favor, please. Share the videos with the people in the hood. Share the videos with the people in the projects. Something will resonate. They know it's in them, it's in us, but they just don't know. They just don't know how. They don't have any guidance. They don't have anybody to say, hey brother, hey sister, look at this. This is us. And this is what's owed to us. This is our home. This is our land. We can do this. We are doing this. And there's nothing they could do to stop it. Nothing they could do to stop it. We have an entire continent that is ours. From South Central America to North America. American Aborigines, stand up. Put those black fists down and put those feathers up. Somebody said this movement will not go far because of one thing that is missing. Hey, listen, I'm not even going to manifest that. I rebuke that statement. We are going to go far. We are going to accomplish what we want to. So whoever said that, you could take that and go hide yourself in a corner. I don't care for what reason you think it wouldn't happen. I'm not accepting that. This movement is going far. As a matter of fact, this movement already happened. We are just waiting to fall in place. Our ancestors already put that in place. Ain't nothing they could do to stop it. Because it has already manifested in the spiritual realm. All right? So nobody's going to discourage that. I'm not saying that you're hating. I'm just saying I'm not going to accept that. Words have power. So I'm not going to let you bring that on that news feed. All right? This is not the platform for that. This is about making things happen. This platform is about making sure the American Aborigines stand up and step into our rightful place. They cannot get rid of us. They can't. Because anytime they find themselves in the streets trying to take the life of an American Aborigine with their feathers on, then the international world will step on the US. Okay? So they already know that. That's why they have to keep you black and African American. Y'all better peep the game. Peep the game. So if they keep you dead within law, they could do what they do to you. But there's no way they want it to be on television, them murdering American Aborigines with their feathers in their head. That's not going to happen. They don't want to do that. They don't need that kind of attention. You better believe that. So like I said, we got home court advantage. All right. Man, listen, they can't stop this. We manifested this. They can't stop it. All right, family. I mean, you know, brothers and sisters, here we go with this family again, but it's all good though. Right now, like I said, I've given you guys a lot. You know, they made an attempt to sabotage the video, but they can't stop it. All right, they can't stop it. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. You know, you guys mean a lot to me. You know what I mean? You really do. And I'm going to continue doing this. All right. Thanks to, you know, my brother Dak, man, for, you know, just always there and here, you know what I'm saying, in pushing that information as well. Everybody that's on the team, okay, the Attacked American People Nation, AAPN, even those that are here with me, thank you for all you do. I appreciate you guys. Never think that your efforts and everything that you do is going unnoticed. Okay, no, it's not. I appreciate that. It makes me feel and know that I'm not alone. So my gratitude, you know, thank you to all our nation members that's in different parts of the country. Our nation is growing. Okay, and it is time that we protect and save our babies. When we are having our babies, we don't need to take our babies to their facilities and use their birth certificates. No, we as the indigenous people, we as the American Aborigines, aka American Indians, indigenous to the Americas, we have every single right to create our own certificate of live birth so that we don't continue to bore our children into servitude. Okay? It is the end of that. We're not going to do that. And even if we use their hospitals, we have every right to use it because it is on our land. But let us make sure that we use our own certificate of live birth. So that's why we have our nation. That's so that we could protect our people, protect our children. Okay? And that's what this is about. So I want you guys to know that we are going to continue to rise and they can't stop it. Let me just put that information in the link. Give me 1 second so you guys could have it as usual. You know how we do what we do. Okay, let me just copy and paste that. All right, it's been a long day, but it's been productive. You know, it's been productive. Let me put the site. I'm also going to put the site. I'm putting the site right now in the bottom of the video so you guys could have that. Okay, so give me a second, please. Nope. Okay. All right, beautiful. So that information is in the link below. You guys, please go ahead and share the information. You know, share the information. I mean, don't allow the videos to just be on YouTube. Okay, share it with your family. Some things will resonate, some things may not resonate, but share it with them. Okay. And that's the only way we're going to do this. Don't force it upon them, though. Don't force it. Just share it with them. Eventually, something will resonate. And that's what we got to do. We got to continue to plant those seeds. That is the key. Planting those seeds. All right. So I'm going to end this. I know we have been on here for a little while now. And we have given out a lot of information. So I'm going to end the video. I don't want to just be on here, you know, rambling, but I give you guys enough for today. So please go ahead and, research the information. While you're going over the information, go look at all them acts that I speak about and you will see exactly what it is. All right. So once again, please, the link is in the description below. Go ahead and support it. It's in the chat. Go ahead and support. Anything and everything that you give is appreciated. All right. As you could see, the challenges that we had with the live feed, you know, even with the videos, like I said, the videos be having 30, 40,000 views in the in the back of the videos, but then when I look at the actual video on YouTube, I'm only seeing about 700 or 800 views. So I know what they're doing, but they can't stop it, because by you sharing the information, we're gonna make it happen. And hopefully we could create a platform where we could have our own radio talk show, so we don't have to deal with all this. Okay, we don't have to deal with all this. So those are some of the things that we have to put in place. We have to put those things in place. We are gonna make this thing happen. Yes, I will. I actually was looking into that, Brother Doc, man, to make you a moderator. So I will look into that. So once again, brothers and sisters, I'm about to end this live feed. Before I go, can I get an American Aborigine power? American Aborigine power, everybody. American Aborigine power. Let's put that out there. Let us give honor to our ancestors. Let us ask them to continue to guide us, you know, support us, protect us. All right. You know, definitely prepare a table before us in the midst of our enemies. All right. Let them stand up with us and for us. Our ancestors are with us. Let us honor them. Let us reach out to them, because they are just waiting. They are just waiting. And big up to all the AAPN family members. Well, you know, well, nation members. Okay, the clan members, the tribe members of AAPN, Autochthon American People Nation. All right. Yeah, we doing great things, man. And I just want to, I'm so thankful to be honored to be the chief of the nation, and the great work that the people are doing. They're dedicated, and everybody's everybody's playing their role. So I'm thankful for that. I'm really thankful for that. So I know I could be a little tough sometimes on them, but it's just because of the passion that I have, and I know there's so much work to do. But honestly, I am very, 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 you know, proud of the nation members and the sacrifices they themselves are making. Okay. And I know that I'm not in this alone. I'm not in this alone. So brothers and sisters, we got work to do. Okay. We got work to do. So let's put those fists down, put them feathers up, and wherever you go, please make sure you rock your feathers. Make sure your children rock their feathers in school. If they're having any problems, then we're going to have to do some things. But I strongly suggest that, you know, you go to the website. Okay, let's come together as a nation. Send in your application. All right, let us do this. It's time to build. We have to grow, family. Let us make this thing happen. This is our time. Okay, this is our time. It's our time. So let's do this. Let's make this thing happen. All right, I'm going to end this. I know you guys got a work day tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to go to the apartment and make sure, you know, things are straightened out. And we all are fighting for each other. All right. I definitely don't want to feel like I'm doing this alone. OK, I want to make sure that, you know, my brothers and sisters are here with me, because I am my brothers and sisters keeper. And I want you guys to definitely know that I don't want to feel like I'm alone. All right. And I know I'm not alone. So I thank you for your support as well. We are fighting on behalf of each other. Okay, we are. So get them feathers up, man. You see that? Them feathers right there. Get them up. All right. Get them feathers up. All right. What I did was I bought those feathers and I made my own headpiece. So pretty soon we're going to have headpieces on the site as well. So those will be available for you guys pretty soon. Like I said, we're working on the apartment. So once we get that, we're going to get internet and we're going to get into our bag and we're going to start creating some things. All right. I'm going to order lots and lots and lots and lots of feathers. We're going to be having headbands and all that. You dig? So we're going to make this happen. All righty. All right. So, all right. Someone said, they could make headbands as well. So that's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. So from South America to North America to Central America, we are all American Aborigines. To all our American Aborigines in Britain, okay, to all the American Aborigines in Canada that's going through the same shortening, the same discrimination because they don't want us to know who we are. Let us stand up in unity. Okay, let us send a shout out to all our African cousins that's on the African continent. We know that they are going through some things as well. We want them to know that we give them our support, that they need to stand up and unite. All right. But right now we are taking care of our own. We're taking care of ourselves. We are fixing our home before we could fix anybody else's home. And that's what this is about. But we have love for all the Aborigines around the world. Peace and love to our Australian Aborigines as well. That's our family. Okay. So at the end of the day, we have Aborigines all over the world. So the world is waiting only right now for the American Aborigine to stand up. That's what they're waiting on. So let us give it to them. Let's wake up. All right. Put them fists down and put your what? Put your feathers up. All right. Put them feathers up, baby. Put them feathers up. Let them know we coming and we flying high. All right. Word. All right, guys, man, gotta go. Been on here for an hour and a half. Then we did the first 2 or 3 attempts. You know, it wasn't successful, but made it possible with the cell phone. So, and you guys heard me loud and clear. So that's a beautiful thing. And all the Aborigines in Asia, all the Aborigines in Europe, all our brothers and sisters, they call the Afro-Mexicans. Those are the Aborigines. Those are our brothers. We love y'all, and we want y'all to know that we standing with y'all as well. It is the Aborigine time, American Aborigine time, and they can't stop that. All the Arawaks, even the Tainos nowadays, they trying to shun the Negroid looking Tainos. They playing the same game, but we're not going to stand for that because we are the original people of this land. Everybody else came after. So we got to step up and let them know that this is not going to happen, not on our watch. Okay. So the nation's website is in the link below. Okay. Secure your family, protect your family. The link for the GoFundMe is below. Support it. Support those who are bringing the authentic truth that are really about making this thing happen. All right. So with that being said, I'm about to end here. Talk to you guys. I love you guys, and we will talk soon. Okay, the flyer for the class will be coming out real soon. We'll promote that. All right. Peace and love. Love you guys. One love.